Hello, wonderful, beautiful you. So, tonight in Tiffany's armchair, I want to talk in this video about feeling sorry for yourself and my take on it. The days where I have a hard time, where it's emotionally challenging, which leads to physical side effects, it can be really hard for me in my own experience to say it's okay to feel this way. And it's something that I recently came into a lot of clarity about, that all of a sudden I realized, who says I can't? I know that the experience of feeling sorry for yourself, especially in Western modern time, is one that's seen as lazy. Feeling sorry for yourself is kind of on that slant, I feel. That impression works very much against my work ethic. The idea of feeling lazy or being lazy. I don't want to do things, or I don't want to operate in a way that is just kind of a default, like this is just what I'm going to do because I can't operate or do anything else, or I don't care or whatever. That's not what once I sat with what my experience was, is I realized that my being still or quiet or resting is not a time that I'm spending, I'm not wasting time. I'm not spending it fervently, And this is such a simple subject matter, but with such an enormously huge piece of baggage that goes with it. I've seen parents who have this modality. I've seen students who have this modality. I've seen the rainbow of people who have this way of being. And it's so unfortunate because they wear themselves out. They work themselves intensely hard. And it's all for the right intentions. They want to be the best they can be, and that's wonderful. But it seems to come at a very steep price. And I think this goes in the idea of delayed gratification. I think it goes along with, I'll be happy when, or I can do that later. I can be happy later. I'll have to do this now, but I can be happy later. And I was that way growing up a lot. In order to get through really tough experiences, especially in school, is I would have to delay the gratification. And that's very helpful because it teaches perseverance, it teaches patience, it teaches mindfulness. It's a wonderful basket of gift that is given with that experience. But if it's done in a continuously unthoughtful way, my own mother, I swear, worked herself to death. And that is something that I've seen people struggle so hard, to work so hard, and they end their lives. It's like when was that happy going to happen? Because I've watched this through my own family, and people that I care about, that they've done this, and then the delayed gratification never came. Now they're much older, and I've seen this happening across the board, especially for a particular generation. But I know it's something that hasn't really gone away because children, I hear parents comment to the fact that children are given so much homework and all of this stuff. And there's a very strong work ethic in Western society. And that makes us a wonderfully prosperous country. We have a very strong work economy, things of that sort. There's a very strong desire for that satisfaction of I've done a good job. But that's clearly an experience that hasn't worked very well or hasn't had a very long-lasting effect. That's a very industrialized, objective, is to work hard. And what the youth of today are getting to experience is the technology which says work easier, work in a way that's more efficient. But I've noticed the work ethic hasn't changed. So what I think I look at is I see people delaying the gratification, the point of happiness, the point of ease, the point of compassion, the point of patience for themselves. And I I guess I want to speak out to that fact that if there's ever a time where it feels like you need to feel sorry for yourself, just take it. Just do it. All that stuff I said before this doesn't even matter, because in the end, just do it. Don't waste any time. If today was a hard day, stop, whatever you were doing to distract yourself from it and just be unhappy, right? Just say, gosh, I'm so sad that I'm so whatever. I'm upset. I'm angry. I feel depressed. Depression isn't a long-term thing. It can be just a momentary experience, really can be. So these are very authentic experiences. And it's an opportunity to let that experience happen so that you can actually return back to your work with the ability to really put yourself into it. The experience of hard work shouldn't be tainted unnecessarily by our overwhelming emotion that goes against it. Allow the hard work to have the gift that it is. It's a wonderful thing. To be able to work hard and feel that satisfaction is wonderful. But then allow the opposite to be true, right? Allow that duality, the other side of the coin, the white to the black to the white, the opposites. Let that be its own experience as well. Absolutely. Just allow the opportunity for yourself to grieve for whatever it is. You may grieve because you're having to grieve, because you're having to be sad or upset, or you had to stop. And that's frustrating. You don't want to do it. You'd rather just work and just ignore it. But for no one else other than yourself, go to a quiet corner and just give yourself the opportunity to grieve, to really have the experience that you can have in that moment. And I know that things like driving home from work will probably have a little bit more ease to it. Or maybe you'll explode in the car, but either way, you will at least know what's going on. Because to allow is to be very mindful of what you're experiencing. And it means being able to be more flexible and say, okay, I can work hard, but I also know when to take time off. Not just the vacation in 3 weeks, not just the weekend, but right now. I'm at work, I'm having a shitty day, some shit got my emotions all going. I just want to cry right now. Just go find the most private place in your car or in the garage if you have to, in the parking spot, in your parking lot. Go somewhere where you can truly just be and see how that feels for just a moment. I know that this is probably something that I as I say this, I think, God, this has been so repeated, but I have worked at this diligently, and I just recently discovered this for myself. I'm very hard on myself. I'm very, very hard on myself. It's something that I'm beginning to actually study. There's an interesting book or an idea out there of something that I wouldn't normally put much stock into, and I don't say I do. I'm not saying I'm buying, paraphernalia for the iconography, but it's called the Michael Handbook, and it's an interesting book. What it's good for, if you can take away the premise behind it, there's one very well that I've been reading. It's very well written by Jose Luis Stevens, and he took all this information and took it very kind of straightforward and wrote a book about it and put it as straightforward as he could with a co-author. And it's a very interesting idea, and I remember I'd heard about this subject like a year ago, like a while back. But the most fascinating part about it is that it gives a structure for humanity. It's not that you don't have to change your religious beliefs or anything for that, but it's something that at least when I can look at my life and humanity through this kind of other experience, it allows me to put a scientific framework around it, which is very helpful for my brain. My brain finds a lot of comfort in an intellectual pursuit, and when I began to read it, I decided, just read it and just see what you think of it. And I've actually had some wonderful clarities on myself, on me. Things that all of a sudden I was like, if you can understand this information about yourself, if you can be in the space that is you, authentically you, and all your colors and variations, right? throughout our day, right? Every day doesn't have to be the same attitude. You can have like 15 different experiences all in one day. It's just that we deny that those have happened, I think. I think that's how people get by, is they deny that they happen. And I have now come to this point where I've officially said, fine, this is how this is going to be. And all of a sudden, the experience of taking the time down became much easier. I quit beating myself up for the first 30 minutes to an hour of it. And then the other side was that when I allow that rest, it seems like within a few hours, maybe 2 approximately, I start to feel like, okay, I'm tired of sitting here. I want to do something else. I actually kind of bore myself in that experience because I give the time to it, and it says, okay, I'm tired of, like, I redid this. This is good. Let's let this go. Let's go do something else now. So by allowing it to exist in my experience fully, in my emotional changes and variations, I notice that they don't hang around as long. So the hard feelings seem to get better sooner. And I can communicate with my spouse more readily and more easily. As many as of us have, and I'm not perfect. I'm sure I have my moments that I can't, if I'm not able to think of it, it probably is because I'm not paying attention to it happening. But I know that I've gotten much better at when I get upset or my emotions get off and I'm not happy or I'm not feeling centered or whatever it is, that when I do react to my husband or to somebody, I am it's gotten better, and I've gotten to the point where I can understand how I'm feeling, so that way I can see what's happening before it happens, because that type of reaction to people is very predictable. There's a lot of signposts that can show you're about to do it. It's first starts with your thoughts. You start noticing your thoughts, and what the thoughts are is what eventually comes out of your mouth. So that's been a very nice help. It's also allowed me to be around more people when I'm not feeling so great. I feel so big. I guess my emotions get so big for me that I recluse myself. I become very solitary. And I am very just going to accept that that's part of who I am. I enjoy my solidarity. I do. By solidarity? Solitary time. Let's be more specific, not solidarity. Which I guess it kind of is. I do stand with myself. I do it because I have to take that time to process. I have to process a lot of information from my day, and it's something that I can do with other people. I am not in the personality type that feels very comfortable doing that right now. I'm learning, but this subject matter I can talk about, but I can't process my own emotions very well logically. So specific ones that I'm now at the level of dealing with is what I'll clarify by saying. So I've dealt with some stuff that's waved in and out of difficulty, of challenge. So that's the first thing I noticed. But then as I continued, I noticed that the challenge wasn't so great, because all of a sudden writing those waves wasn't so hard for me. So that's what I noticed. It didn't that they went away. It was that the wave, instead of feeling like this, which felt so up and down because I was connecting and attaching to every emotion I had, that when I felt happy, I didn't want to ever not feel happy, so I can't be sad now. And then when I was sad, I thought I would never not be sad because it's just going to last forever. So instead of it being such an extreme, such a codependent experience, the waves kind of smoothed out some, and continuously so, that where I can ride that wave better. Hasn't changed so much the intensity of my emotion, but it has, like I've mentioned, shortened the duration. It's allowing it to process better. And I'm finding ways, hobbies or interests or activities that I don't require much. I have a low tool need. I don't have to go somewhere. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. It's something I can do very easily and efficiently. I find that works best for me, and that's how that's how I do my process, is through these different tasks or hobbies or activities that I enjoy doing. It can be as simple as going outside and just sitting in the hammock. I like to sit with plant spirits, plant energy is very healing, and if you open your intuition to it, you may get a communication back. And it's I only say this because I had a spontaneous communication with a plant that I very much enjoy its company, as it were, and I actually had an experience where I felt like it was helping me. That's a beautiful experience. That's shamanism. That's being connected to the earth and to the plants and the medicine all around us. It's beautiful. So it's an opportunity to be more aware of myself, and not just myself, but the world around me, because when I'm paying attention to myself, my senses heighten. And that's why the feeling of these emotions can be so overwhelming, is because if you can go into it, that energy is amazingly powerful. It's really energy. And if you can look at it as such, it becomes an ally, a resource, rather than this thing that sucks life out of you. It's like I don't know, this is a spontaneous revelation here, so I'm just going to go with it. It's like an orb of wonderful energy, or powerful, no, let's say wonderful, let's just say powerful energy comes near you, kind of like a light socket. You're sticking your finger closer and closer to a light socket. It's like you finally plug into this energy source that's coming near you. And I say it that way because I feel like it's something that you don't consciously know is about to happen. I feel like a lot of these experiences for me are spontaneous. So at least for the time being, I've only experienced them as spontaneity. And because of that, when it happens, I'm like, right, okay, let's, here I feel this coming. I feel the beginning intensity of this experience happening. And so maybe if I can visualize it as like an energy that's coming near me, however that is, whatever that is, some sort of whatever, I don't know, some energy thing coming closer to me, that when it gets close to me, it's like, this is like a battery, like it's going to charge me up. But I have to open up and allow for it. And it comes in the form of all kinds of things. But fear, I think, is the greatest attribute of it, is that it's stored in fear. And fear, I've had this opinion of for a while, is that fear is an incredibly powerful power source for us if we can tap into what it is. This is alchemy, right? This is what alchemy is. I'm being very hypothetical with all this. This is just spontaneous thoughts. So please, if you can have patience with that. But the experience of tapping into it, it's very mind. It's a lot of mental exercise. It's like wrapping it in all your thoughts. But fear is your dominant feature right then. So you're like facing the worst fear, because it's almost like this ball as it gets wrapped into you. It's like it magnifies something. But this is like the gift exchange you have to do. You have to give this energy to get this energy. And if I can tap into that information that says, what is this painful emotion that I'm dealing with, or this heartfelt something, or the tightness in my stomach, where is this in my body? How can I help this and ease it? Because this is incredibly painful, right? This hurts. Then it's like I allow the space for this exchange to happen, which is the processing, which is me tapping in and asking questions and being curious, being mindful, watching and witnessing, trying not to judge, doing my best not to attach to the thought, to judge the thought, and then once it's done, it's done. And I think, and I know that is why psychoactive plants are on the planet. Because this experience can happen to you without any sort of aid. But it's very challenging to get over that hump. Because that hump is very intense. It really is. Like if you've done any sort of plant medicine or anything like that, if smoked weed even, I think most of us have noticed that there's this like mountain you have to get over, and it's like a roller coaster ride. It can be really intense. And that's like the gift that's like the payoff. That's the payoff. So you have to be able to willingly endure that intensity and then get to the other side of it where you finally can have some clarity. And that's just like the human experience, right? The more I engage with plants, medicines, and plants around me, really, in my nature, in my beautiful nature that I have here, the land that I care for, I find that this is the case. I mean, I have yet to take any plant substance, which I'm very fond of the plant herbs, use of plants in my daily life, and also psychoactively to charge the mind. I've noticed that it's all the same. Their plants have this one rush of energy they can give you, but it's not the same thing as the day-to-day stuff that we experience. That's what I think, because my day-to-day experience, I would rather be in 100 ceremonies in a month with ayahuasca than have to live my daily life. If you've never had the experience of ayahuasca, then I can't really, maybe, I don't do acid, that's not my thing, but mushrooms kind of maybe. If you ever smoke salvia, that's very similar. But there's an intensity at the beginning that I think we all experience, but it's that after effect where you get the insights. And the whole thing is a process that's very healing and works towards this, but I find that that's why that experience is so important to me. I don't want to always be talking about ayahuasca, but I guess I did introduce that I would be mentioning this quite often. So this is me mentioning it. Yeah. So you just got me doing a spontaneous insight. That's the things I do all day long. I love it. It's a lot of fun. But this conversation here, I want to also say, has been very therapeutic and cathartic for me. I came into this with a lot of self-doubt. Self-deprecation was going on, and it's one of my kind of fallbacks of what I do, and I'm very aware of it, but I have a hard time dealing with balancing it out. And I followed a series of steps that went very intuitively. And this conversation, I know that you're not there to actually respond, but I feel that just being your presence there is enough, that this is very helpful for me in a way that I couldn't have had otherwise. So, it's funny because I don't know, I had to watch one of my own videos because I was feeling really crappy. And after I heard my own words speaking the things that I know are the best parts of me, it helped me so much. And I knew that I had the stamina, the energy, the strength, the solidarity to do this, to stand by myself and say, you can do this. You can engage with this. You can do what you need to do. I mean, the goals that I have and things of that sort, it all is hinged upon this process, this experience of mine. And I feel like right now I'm like totally like channeling or something, because I feel very unattached to my body right now. So it's very interesting for me. But this has been a very, very interesting experience. Truly spiritual for me. So thank you for joining me on this. I thought my insights were fading from my ceremony, and not so much. I'm very happy for that. That's quite a gift. So I will go ahead and stop this here and let myself go and chill out, because I'm buzzing now. So thank you so much for joining me for this. And I would love to know if you appreciated this video. Please give me a thumbs up if it worked for you, if it was something that helped you. And please comment, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions or your own experience, I'm new to the experience, the shamanic experience, but it's one that I really feel very drawn towards. So I'd love to have some sort of interaction with people about that. I've loved everybody I've met through the experience, so I want to spread that further and further. So thank you so much for joining me. May you be blessed, may your heart be light, and may you only have peace in your mind. Namaste.